well, you gotta. His drum set was ahead of the roller coaster last time I saw him.
I didn't know anything about that.
Why?
They had people go to that lunch show. I just told him about it today.
Who did?
Start recording, streaming. Press the button.
I heard about like wishing we had now spots and hang out the South 7th Street corridor with let people camp there, which I brought it up last meeting, but yeah. I mean,
I'm not sure.
what's the new building going up? I don't know. I've never seen anything in the notes about.
It's good to help, though. Got bigger today, but.
16 seconds. You gotta give it 16 seconds.
Just finished good late at work.
No, it's always got 16 seconds.
Where it is, 16. Calls me.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Fry,
Present.
Keating,
Present.
Snellings,
Present.
Bikeman, Garacki,
Present.
Price,
Present.
Barons, Crom,
Here.
Minot.
Okay. First up, we have approval of minutes from the regular meeting on August 11th.
Move to approve the minutes of August 11th, 2023 as written.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion, changes? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next we have the approval from the special meeting on September 14th.
Move to approve minutes, special meeting September 14th, 2023 as written.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next we have the approval of minutes from the meeting on September 19th.
Move to approve special meeting minutes September 19th, 2023 as written.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Next, we have public comment. Is anybody here for 5-minute public comment? Yes.
I just want to speak briefly about this article that was in the latest newsletter. I think everybody here has lost someone close to them, whether it was a friend, family, grandfather, parent, sibling, or worse yet, a child. Colleen is the only one I know on the council that has gone through that. If you haven't gone through it, consider yourself very lucky. My wife and I work with a grief support group here in Marysville for people that lost children. We've done that for 15 years, give or take. We try to help people go through what they go through with the grieving process. The last meeting, this came up, that you're going to ban all decorative devices in the cemetery, as your title says, starting December 1. Most of you, or all of you, are probably married and have children. When their birthdays come around, their baptism days come around, you give them presents, you can take them out to eat, you can be with them, you can call them. I can't. What I can do is go out to the cemetery, put something on the grave that makes us feel better. Christmas is another one of those holidays that hit hard. We can go out there at Christmas, put something on there. If your ideas that you're proposing, somebody is, I won't be able to do that. This tombstone we have for my son is angled, so you can't even buy one that clamps over the top because it'll slip off and blow away. So the lambs or shepherd staff that we have sitting behind the tomb and hangs over the tombstone, according to this, will probably have to be taken down. And we can't put flowers out there because we don't have, We don't have a vase built into the cement, so we're out of luck. There's no way, nothing we can do. What I've heard from a lot of people talking is it makes it too hard to mow. Well, there's probably at least 5 months out of the year nobody mows, including December, January, February, March. So why enforce or try to enforce something like this over the holidays when everybody wants to put something out for their families, especially those of us who have children out there? So I don't know. I've read your ordinance. I don't know when that ordinance was passed. Somebody could maybe enlighten me. But it doesn't say in the ordinance when any of these were passed, and I didn't have time to look it up to find out. So if this goes forward, is it going to be grandfathered for those of us that have things out there? There's a lot of people with tombstones like this, and apparently you don't like these, and they would be forced to take them down if you don't have a statue attached to this tombstone itself. We have friends all over the Midwest that have lost children, and we visit with them and talk about how to go through the grieving process. And yes, even after 30-some years, you still have that grieving process we're going through. We'll never have that hole in our heart go away. And this is the only way we can do anything. So what I can tell from reading the ordinance, the cemetery board can make recommendations to the city council, and the city council can take it from there. So this has been in the books for some time. I don't know when, but it's never been enforced. So if they want to start enforcing it, I would think it would behoove you as a council to do a little research and a little consideration about saying, no, you can't do that. So that's all I have.
Thank you.
Is this something we can send to the Cemetery and Airport Committee for further exploration, at least?
You can, yeah.
Send it back.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I don't know, who all's on that committee?
I think it's
Yeah,
the
okay.
3 of us.
All right, we'll set up a meeting.
Yep.
You still have a cemetery board?
I don't know if we still have a functioning one. We have people that are on it, but I don't know how.
Probably better include them.
Yeah, it'd be good for a refresher.
Mm-hmm. All right. Anyone else for 5-minute public comment? Okay, business and discussion items. First, we kind of brought this up the other day that we wanted to bring it to the council meeting, just kind of a discussion on what are council's thoughts on trying to find an interim city administrator.
Did we get a hold of the league about the interim thing?
We have contacted them. They didn't really have.
They
said
have
they have a
several,
few,
but they're
out.
all busy right now. I did send an email to SGR. I got nothing back from them.
This would potentially be a contract employee, so this is an open session discussion item.
Yeah.
That is correct.
Just making sure we're all on the
Unless
same
you
page
have
there.
a specific one that you want to talk about, you can talk about it, maybe, but, you know, it
Yeah,
has to be.
we
It
got
gets-
our wrist
we-
slapped
we
for that
did
years
With
ago.
an attorney, yep,
Yeah,
you are correct.
I think it's an
I
open
remember.
session discussion.
yes, yeah.
So I only have one name.
You feel like sharing that name? Do you feel that's appropriate?
He was one that Austin found, and he was a city administrator in, help me,
The
Austin.
last one was Hutch. Before that,
In Great Bend
he's
for a
got a
while.
few. He was in Great Bend for a while.
While they did projects.
I mean,
They did quite a few
he was there
projects when he
for-
was there.
yeah, 4 years, and then he's got a few other cities before that.
Is he a person who could step into the role on a full-time basis or?
It would,
Part-time
typically, an interim wouldn't be a full-time employee. They're looking at 3 days a week possibly to keep you guys rolling.
3 days in person? Not
In person, yes. So that's typically what I've been being told by, the senior advisors that we have throughout the state of Kansas. That's the expectation. You pay them for the time that they are there. I mean, that's how you set up the contract that way. And it's not to, I mean, unless you really need things changed or you're overhauling the system for the next one. It's really to get you to the next one. And make sure the next one can function sufficely. So I mean, it'd probably be, he did give me his cover letter and resume. I mean, you guys can review it. I mean, I've had one other contact me with some interest, but he never called me back after he said he needed to go talk to his family about it. So, but that's a just retired city manager. So,
I guess, what's our expectation? Is it just to kind of step in and oversee the lagoon project? I mean, any projects we have out there. I don't feel that a intern should probably be hiring and firing people in the short term.
Agreed.
No.
I
wouldn't
think
so,
that's where we need to step up.
No,
But you need somebody-
unless
If
they
yeah.
find something, they should have the authority of the city admin. Otherwise, you're not getting anywhere.
Right.
They can't. I mean, it's
But they should be acting in close consultation with the council and mayor.
Yes,
course.
and the mayor.
right.
Is there for lack of a better term, stock contract for this sort of position where that's laid out that we can,
There are existing ones out there. Yeah.
And would it just be a wage and an I-9 handed to them at the end of the year, like a contract per month?
That's how, the contract can be written how you see fit, but he or she would probably be paid probably with the same way every other employee is paid, as far as when money comes out.
Yeah, but it's not, they're not going on the benefit roll or anything like that. They're just strictly.
but I also wouldn't want to necessarily get caught paying a lot of mileage or per diems or things like that as well.
That is true. They told me that at the league, that you set a rate and then the cost varies by how far away they live. Because they are gonna get mileage and they are gonna get a motel room. Or whatever.
Or lodging of some sort.
Lodging, okay, sorry, lodging. But she said motel room, so I'm just using the word that she gave.
Well, the lodging and Marysville is fortunate that there's an open apartment
But
that
we'd
can
have
be
to
utilized.
put beds and things in there.
We'd have to
if they
furnish it.
did.
It'd
Yeah,
be
we'd have to
minimal-
furnish it.
Minimal furnishing.
How much do
but-
you have, Todd?
Yeah. Sorry, but that's an expense you can figure out up there. The rate that I was being told is basically what you guys are already paying me plus whatever it costs to pay for my benefits. That's typically what interims take. Because you're already paying for my salary, that should mirror what you're paying for. So basically, the hourly rate reflects what mine is.
And it's 6-month term generally?
She told me 3 or 6.
3 is, okay.
Said 3 or 6.
And then could it be, I'd imagine you'd want language, whereas if you needed to extend it month to month or something, you could
Yes.
do that?
Yeah.
I think it's pretty negotiable with
And
whoever.
could you have a clause that if you found a city administrator, that you could terminate the contract?
Right. And
Buy out.
they should be fully understanding of that, yes.
Other than hanging out a sign saying welcome applicants.
I mean, if you wanna,
Nice
if you
to
wanna,
have-
if there's a way you set up a meeting to review the current applicant, actually probably should call him and make sure he's turned that in a little bit ago.
So we haven't officially advertised.
No,
Can we in league publications or otherwise on a very like, we only want to advertise it in one issue or whatever, it'd be nice to have more than one point of comparison is my
so
point.
get it on the league's website. That'd be the short-term way to go, and that goes out to, everybody who's on
And I'll ask,
KSCM.
she wasn't very, they said, when I first called, they said, we really don't do that. So I'll ask.
They don't,
You
what,
can advertise your jobs.
advertise jobs for
No,
us?
no,
I
no,
mean,
that they don't look for,
well, but they're not looking, we're looking.
right, I know,
Yeah,
I get it. I will ask.
okay.
So, since we have one applicant that was brought up, I'm gonna ruffle feathers.
Yeah.
And, I think we have somebody locally that would be willing to do it, but we would have to give him very clear direction on what our expectation is. That's why I brought up the question about some of the personnel issues. I think it's an option. He was never an approachable person, but at least he knows the community, he knows the city, and he pays attention to what we're up to. And it, to me, might be a benefit. He's not my first choice, but if I start looking at him, it makes more sense to me than getting somebody that's just gonna be here in person 3 days a week and we're paying travel expense. So if we're talking to people, I think we need to, and I'll just throw the name out there. I'm not gonna beat around the bush. I mean, Rick is the obvious. He knows the departments, he knows the people, he knows the community, in my opinion.
There'd be no mileage, the learning curve would be theoretically short.
I mean,
very short.
he would need some kind of debriefing from Austin, in my opinion. But I think that he would, if we're very clear on what our expectations are. So, and I know you can't talk about non-elected officials in public, but this is an important thing, guys, so.
I would just throw out there that as mayor, the way that our city code reads, I believe, is that I nominate somebody for a city administrator, which I would assume that would apply towards a,
I don't know about
Temporary
now,
too,
but
I don't know.
It does for city.
but I would tell you that I would not nominate that person. I'll just tell you that up front. So that'd be my decision on it, so.
Today's the 25th. Go forward with advertising then.
Yeah.
I'll go forward with advertising.
So,
Advertise.
Put it in. When's the league deal go out?
Well, the website always updates.
It's always open.
Always up to date.
that's probably the majority of where they catch traffic, I would think.
Give them 30 days.
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure all the
Back here
department
by
heads,
November 13th.
Why don't you go October 24th?
23rd.
Wow.
So you have, your
Yeah, I'm
second
sorry.
meeting is the 23rd.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
So if you go
By
the 18th.
October 18th?
18th, I
that
mean, you're
okay?
looking for a short-termer.
Yeah, I mean,
and
these are-
the experienced ones, if they know, they know.
this is probably a lot of, I'd imagine, retired folks and people who can
This is
throw
their
their
job.
name in
Yeah.
quickly.
Their
Yeah.
job is short-term,
Right.
so.
Yeah.
Okay, October 18th?
I mean, that's a starting point. I'm not saying we're gonna get one, but it's a starting point.
Let's shoot for it.
And, I mean, I don't know if this is more of an Austin or Cindy or whomever question, but I mean, department heads kind of all understand that let's keep the ship very stable.
That,
In the
that was the
meantime,
message.
that roundtable has
And
happened.
everything still comes through City Hall like it always
Yeah.
has, because we have to have one point of contact, so everybody, it's not getting lost.
I mean, we have, our ordinances and our policies are actually set up to, when I gone, or if there's no city administrator, it goes through Cindy. I mean, she's technically city clerk, assistant city administrator, if I remember her job description right. So that, it kind of reverts that way. So the ship is, still on course. So, I mean, at least in the meantime, it's gonna keep going.
Just as long as, I just wanna make sure everybody's on the same page.
Right.
Nobody's, I mean, not that anybody would, but it's good to know that everybody's, what the expectations are going into
Right.
rough waters to keep that ship metaphor going.
Yes.
You may have more special meetings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
We have questions,
Probably.
we're calling.
Every night, as far as I'm concerned.
so, but, to keep the ship righted, I mean, I guess I'll reverse my, message to them, cause I tried to give them a little bit of a pep talk going forward and some guidance, moving on. So I'll offer that, to you guys, just to help staff get their work done. Like Cindy was saying, they need one point of contact. If you have questions, send it to Cindy. She can get them answered. That way, staff can get their work done, and Cindy can get the questions answered, whether it be staff, contractor, whatever. If you really need answers, come through Cindy, and get that, taken care of. Staff wants to get you guys what you need, to know that everything's going right. So, that way, there's no mishaps or any miscommunications.
If an interim isn't found by August 7th, is some of these decision makings fall on the council?
No, in fact, it reverts to Cindy. Pretty much written in the absence of a city administrator,
The mayor?
the city clerk is the city administrator.
It's in the charter.
Yeah, it's in code book, it's in all that. So you're not missing anything. All the purchases should still be the same. She'll just be giving it a closer look versus, what I was doing. So it's just somebody else doing the job in the meantime. But the faster you guys hire a new person, the more work you get off of Cindy. So, yeah.
Okay. Right, well, do some advertising and see what we come up with.
I'll get the league to see if they can get that, an advertisement and how it should go in.
Okay, any more discussion about that? All right, next we have the economic development is 708 Calhoun.
That's that garage, that last time he didn't get us the paperwork on time. That Brian that has a garage up here, so he did now.
So did we approve it last time, just pending the paperwork?
No, we tabled it.
We tabled it.
That's
Okay,
why
I
we
couldn't
were
remember.
paperwork.
You can get rid of this notice down here once,
And
if you
once you get to
approve
the
it.
hearing,
Yeah.
that you can get rid of.
Yeah.
Okay, move to approve.
Second.
Second.
All right, any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 7-0.
Okay.
Next, we have the Chamber Main Street contract.
Move to approve Chamber and Main Street contract.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion?
I take it you on the board, looked through it all, fine toothed and everything?
Really, the biggest change on it is the money.
The amount,
And that the Kester block will no longer get the money from
for Mother's Day.
Mother's Day Market. It will go to Chamber Main Street.
But there's also been money taken out that was put in. I can't remember all them amounts.
I don't have any of that paperwork with me either.
Cindy, do you remember them amounts?
Of what?
If not, what used to go in there that went towards,
Well, what it was before is that the convention and tourism paid the difference in the salary between what was raised at this event
there you go.
and the other. And
Basically, is this the dollar amount that we came up before?
That's,
The
that's
3125
that's
amount?
the change.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the amount. This last year, we made like $7,000. Some years we make $3,000. It just depends on where we are, which is the only money that goes into the Kester Fund, is the money from there.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Okay, notices and hearings. First, we have a condemnation, well,
That's
the one at 708, so that one is,
That one can go out.
we've got resolution 2023-55, which is a nuisance at 203 Alston.
Good for resolution 2023.
Good evening.
Sorry, got ahead of myself.
I did. I'm sorry.
Has he cleaned anything up?
Yes.
Huh?
Who has?
203.
No.
That's why I asked. I didn't think so either.
He hasn't. It's been going on actually since back in May. I've sent him several notices. It looked like he's got something cleaned up and it didn't. He just moved it around the corner. But it needs to be cleaned up. That's all there is to it. I mean, as you can see from the photos, it's pretty bad. So,
I'll second, Councilman Bikeman's motion.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0. Okay,
And that was on 203 Alston,
Alston.
correct?
203 Alston, yeah.
now that we have the one at 701 South 15th.
it's been cleaned up.
Has it? Oh,
Yes.
okay, good.
Oh, good.
So we don't have to worry about that one. Unless he does it again.
Thanks, Bob.
Yep,
Thank you.
thank you.
Thank you, Bob.
All right. I'll move on to the consent agenda.
Move to approve consent agenda.
Second.
Okay, any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, 7-0. Next, we have appropriations ordinance number 3806.
Move to approve appropriation ordinance number 3806, the amount of $321,729.27.
Second.
Okay. Any discussion about any of the items on there? Roll call?
Fry,
Yes.
Keating,
Yes.
Snellings,
Yes.
Bikeman,
Yes.
Brackey,
Yes.
Price, sorry. Thrum,
Yes.
7-0.
Next, we have the staff reports, and Matt?
Good evening, how is everybody?
Good. How you doing this evening?
Doing well, thank you. Much enjoying the cooler weather. Unfortunately, next week's gonna be back up to 90, but, the reason I'm here tonight is to discuss the, local safety and security equipment grant opportunity that came open in June. The Kansas Governor's Grant Program had some, ARPA money left over. They decided to push it out to the municipalities. They put two key priorities on it. One was interoperability of radio communications for all first responders, not necessarily just police. And two was for wildland fire equipment, firefighting equipment. We didn't see the need for the police department for the firefighter equipment, so we put in for a grant opportunity to replace our police radios in our mobile vehicles. They are roughly 4 to 5 years old. We've had one board go out, cost us $1,750 to replace that board. So they're not obsolete, but they're not being made anymore. So when the product becomes unmade, then the parts become harder to find. So we wanted to explore an opportunity to replace those. And so we put in for this grant opportunity. On September 18th, they reached out to us and they awarded us the grant. There is a 10% match. And so with your consideration this evening, the KGGP would fund 90% of the total project in the amount of $62,640. And the city of Marysville would fund 10% of the project in the amount of $6,960. And that would replace 8 of our mobile vehicle radios.
What do you do with the surplus radios?
There's a couple things we could do. One, we'd like to put one in a UTV when it comes in. 2, I talked to Donnie Bauman. He would like 4 of them to go into the fire trucks. Currently, the fire trucks all have UHF, VHF, but they don't have 800, and these are 800 tri-band radios. The national consensus is moving to 800. They're trying to fund some of those, so 4 of them would probably go to the fire department, and I'd probably keep 2 just in case a spare goes out or one breaks. Right now, we have to take it out of the car, run it up to KCOM. We may be down a radio for several days or weeks, but the new radio is the same brand as the old radio, so it's simply plug and play. So we could keep one of those spares to make sure we keep our system up and running.
I move to approve the Harris XL 200 radios from KCOM for $6,960.
Second.
Okay, any further discussion? All in favor, what's that?
from capital outlay or mass budget or?
From the general fund. Yeah.
Right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? 7-0.
Before you sit down, I hear you have some other grant opportunities coming up.
We do. We've talked to Mr. St. John. We've worked with Senator Moran's office. We submitted for a congressionally directed spending request. On September 12th, the Senate and Appropriations Committee voted in favor of our request. It's for $173,000 for the Marysville Police Department. That would fund 3 projects. I want to be very clear, it's not fully approved yet. It has to go in front of the full Senate. I was told by Moran's office that normally when the Senate Appropriations Committee approves it, that the full Senate approves it as well. But we're waiting on that final vote, and that would be $173,000 in federal support for the police department as well.
In this year?
This year.
In this
Well, I believe we would actually get it beginning of next year.
Next
It would be this federal fiscal year, which starts October 1st,
Okay,
but,
yeah, okay.
yeah.
What'd you say that was gonna be paying for?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the things that we've looked at with the dangers of fentanyl, officers have to open up a bag, swab it, test it, and so it'd be for a true narc analyzer. It's a state-of-the-art laser magnification system that will tell us what that item is without ever having to touch it. It's quite costly. It's about $40,000. KBI has 2 in the state, and so we put in a grant request for federal funding to fund one of those for Northeast Kansas region. I mean, it'd be owned by the Marysville Police Department, but we'd share it. And then we put in to replace all of our mobile vehicle cameras. So the grant you just approved puts all of our radios on the same platform. We have a couple different models of cameras. So we wanted to replace some of those older outdated cameras that are 5 to 6 years old. So it would take care of that, and then it would cover our UTV purchase.
Out of curiosity on the testing equipment, what's the maintenance look like? Not trying to say it's a bad idea, just curious.
Sure.
Does it have to be calibrated annually?
It doesn't. So it comes, you buy a number of test strips, and so it's good for 5 years. And so typically, what we've tried to do, at least in the last year or so, is buy all the licenses up front, so there's no recurring cost. So in year 6, we would decide, okay, we either need to budget for capital outlay to renew this, or, hey, it wasn't worth the squeeze, let's look at something else. But yeah, that's the total cost for the first 5 years.
Great.
Good deal.
Does that do all different kinds of drugs?
Yes.
Any drug? Any drug.
Any other questions regarding the proposed grant?
No, it's good news.
Great.
All right.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. If I may, I'd like to go down to the podium real quick. Take control. Have the pleasure to do this on my last council meeting, so I'm really excited. It's my honor as a city administrator to be able to honor the staff that we have working for the city of Marysville. We have some of the greatest staff, some of the greatest departments, and I don't want to put one above the other. But this was brought to my attention by the staff of one of the departments that they wanted to award their department head with a commendation. Every single one of them signed off on this. So it is my pleasure to read this commendation to the council and to award Matt Simpson a commendation from his department. On November 19th, 2022, the Marysville Police Department was awarded accreditation from CALEA. The accreditation made Marysville Police Department the smallest department in Kansas to receive accreditation. On November 29th, 2022, Marysville Police Department was awarded joint accreditation through the Kansas Law Enforcement Training Center program. Kansas Law Enforcement Accreditation Program. Marysville Police Department was the second department in the state of Kansas given dual accreditation. CALEA accreditation is not guaranteed, even with good intentions and hard work. It must be earned with excellence. The process was rigorous and required meeting over 180 standards. A department must demonstrate each of those standards through normal operations, and each standard must be documented. While at the CLEAP, the Kansas Law Enforcement Accreditation Program, award ceremony, the state of Kansas program manager said it was impossible for one person to take a department through accreditation alone while doing another job. That is exactly what Chief Simpson did. Chief Simpson was the chief of police and accreditation manager for the process. He accomplished this while assuming a new role, attending and graduating the FBI National Academy, and leading the department to new levels of competency on several different fronts. Chief Simpson will say it was a team effort. That is true. Each member had to meet the standard CALEA requires. Each member had to support the direction of the department. However, the job of documenting over 180 standards thoroughly while leading the department through the process of changing as monumental as meeting CALEA standards is remarkable. The high degree of competency and professionalism required for tasks is indisputable. The CLEAP program manager would call it impossible. Therefore, we recommend Chief Matt Simpson for commendation. I'll add to this. As you see Chief Simpson come up, he works tirelessly for the city of Marysville, looking everywhere to save citizens not only money, time, effort. He also creates connections throughout the community, and I've received nothing but positive feedback from organizations all over the city. And everywhere I go throughout the state, he is a well-regarded name. So it is my pleasure to bring Matt back up here for a commendation.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Okay. I might as well end my portion of the meeting with, just like it's been a pleasure of working with Matt, it's been a pleasure working with every single one of you. From the beginning of my tenure till now, I believe we've created a team that can move Marysville forward, both at the department level and at the council level. This being my last meeting, I still have 2 weeks to go, but I won't be at the next council meeting. But I'll just leave it at, I've had a good time here. I've made lots of friends. My family has been so happy in Marysville, and it was hard making the decision that we did, but it is where we're going. So I'll reiterate what I said before. It's been great. I'm gonna miss Marysville. My family's gonna miss Marysville, and I'm here to wish you luck on the future. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Thank you. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, Austin.
Thank you.
Move on to standing committee reports. Does anybody have anything on street?
Yes, it was brought up to me multiple times about the Jayhawk millings and see if we could possibly move forward with more of those. I know it was discussed the last time we brought it up that it could potentially be an issue over the winter months. But I mean, as much as I'm hearing from people, they're pretty on board with it, but I figured I would bring it up again that it has been successful so far and that people are wanting to see more. So
And see how it holds up. Realize that we got the bill for that, and it was about $6,000 to do that little stuff. So you're
Well,
not talking a small amount of money to
The
do all
fear you
that.
need to be prepared for is that it's gonna end up just like Keystone. You're not
Well-
gonna be able to blade it, you're not gonna be able to patch it, it's gonna break out. So I don't understand why we'd wanna set ourselves up for
See-
failure, but
I'd see how it holds up over the winter.
Yeah, I was gonna say, we set kind of a time to
I wouldn't
review
get in a big
it.
hurry until you know for sure, especially if
A lot
you're
of
gonna spend
positive
that kind of
feedback
money.
so far, but the test is ongoing.
yeah, it's great, except for everybody's
Right.
not, that's not quick enough for everybody.
Yeah, I understand.
I don't think it hurts though to maybe look into having Bruno or somebody bring in a mobile grinder. Cause even just for alleys and stuff, if we had that millings ground up where you don't have the big chunks.
Yeah.
Might be worth looking into the price, at least getting the pile that's
Well,
out of
that's
there.
true, it'd be a use for it, yeah.
Oh, the pile. Okay.
Cause
So,
you only can grind it during the winter, if I remember right.
right, yeah,
Yeah.
they won't grind it.
Probably, yeah.
You can't do anything with it when it's warm out.
The other complaint I heard about on Jayhawk is the excessive speed.
yeah,
I don't know.
And everybody that lives out there that's talked to me, I said, well, we'll put speed bumps in. And they'll be big ones. And they say, we don't care.
Well, I mean, that is one of the complaints in the email is that nobody's gonna slow down, so.
Yep.
I guess we know who to talk to about slowing them down.
Mm-hmm.
No dog, we know. Too dusty to drive fast.
Yeah.
I'm not sure if it's under street. The WPA steps over here at the corner of Carolina and 9th. We redid a lot of the steps, the street department, I believe it was the street department. Was the Parks Department? Okay.
Yeah.
It's been just long enough, I
Because
couldn't
it was
remember who
one
did it.
step at a
One
time.
step-
Team effort.
And they're in good condition. Unfortunately, the landing at the bottom of all the steps has not been touched. So I don't know if that's something that can be kind of shoehorned in with while we're already doing some concrete work. It should just be that section. I mean, it's about 4 or 5 inches of kind of uplift and crack, and if just that section would be replaced, I think they'd be in reasonably stable condition. But yeah, I guess that should have been in our parks, but sidewalks feel more like streets than park to me.
Message will get there.
It was just
Transportation.
whoever had time or would do that.
Well, they did a good job, and it's held up pretty well, so.
It was a major project.
Okay, anything else on street?
Catch basins, the end of Sixth Street.
They started digging on it.
Yeah.
Or, yeah, down on,
When they got the backhoe
Sixth and
back.
Kester.
yeah,
They
Kester.
said they did.
Yeah, they started digging on it.
So that's recently done it then.
I think they just got their backhoe back.
Okay.
Which,
Because I can say it wasn't that way the other day when I was walking down there, so.
have we got the bill on that yet?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Boy.
It was not a small one.
25.3. But they fixed pretty much everything that could wear out, so I would say it's pretty good to go. Should be for a while anyway. We hope. I think they sent in the ECM and they put, O-rings on the injectors and they put
Turbo.
turbo, I mean, so they pretty well went through everything.
Went through it all then, didn't they?
Good as new.
That'll be good for 7 years.
Something for a hydraulic something. There was a leak on the hydraulic.
Lesson learned there is don't keep it that long.
I have one thing, I brought this, does anybody remember this? There's a timeline in the back of this. There you go, Kevin.
Oh, BG, sorry.
Yeah, so the timeline was, so we award the project February 23, design and survey traffic data collection March 2023, concept design meeting with staff April 2023, preliminary plans May 2023, a public meeting and commissioning update, which I figured that's where it would end. June 2023, design and final check, July 2023, final deliverables, August 23, bid letting, September 23. Begin construction, fall 2023. We haven't heard anything.
Okay.
In my opinion.
I talked to him today, and he said that he'd never sent us an actual agreement. So, and he said, if we want to go forward yet, then they will.
That's
So basically giving you an out.
That's,
That's what he's-
it's an out, but it's also unacceptable for us not following up on that, in my opinion, regardless of the direction we went.
Yeah.
But yes, we have an out, that's great.
I mean, I
But
talked to
that's-
somebody on Friday just because you guys kept asking, and I
Yeah.
threw it out there to him. And
That's,
so
in
Daniel
my mind,
called me.
that's totally unacceptable. So, I'll leave it at that. Nothing else.
Okay. Anything else on street?
Yeah,
Yes. What?
I'll bring it up.
What's
Where are we at on 11th Road?
we still got one agreement to
There's
get for
one,
the
yeah,
temporary easement.
one agreement that needs to be, signed, but I talked to Rob this morning, or actually this afternoon, and he said he'd send that off to KDHE, without the one, signing off on it right now, so. It hasn't, I haven't seen plans, but,
I thought we had the last one kind of figured out. Is that not sorted out yet?
well,
Agreement.
we've
I'm
given,
hoping.
we've given it to him, he just never came in and signed it.
So we still have no hard plans here at City Hall?
No.
But he should be pretty far if he's going to KDHE with it, right?
Right, but I just never, he's never submitted any plans to me,
No, we don't have
or to us, really.
So, I mean, it's the people out there themselves that are kind of holding us up. So, I'm not sure why.
I'll wait till I see the plans before I,
Okay.
make that decision, because I've heard something, and I'm just waiting to see plans.
Okay.
And if what I heard turns out to be true, I can understand why we have problems.
Okay. Anything else on street? Water, wastewater? Parks and Rec?
Yeah, a lot of people are wondering why the dirt ball fields at Darga Park is getting seeded with grass.
That was discussed at the last, workshop, and, it was, there, it was seen as favorable to move forward with that, to reduce the maintenance, workload on the Parks Department, as well as reduce the amount of, Roundup that we use, because they go out and spray that all the time. And Roundup's in kind of a bad light right now.
I wasn't at, I believe I missed the last workshop, so I wasn't party to that. But I guess I look at this as one of those that probably woulda, coulda, shoulda been discussed by the Parks and Rec Committee and then the council in open session, since if there's this many people that have this serious of feelings about it, it's probably due to be elevated above workshop level for discussions. I mean, I haven't had kids that have played at Dargits for a number of years now, but there are definitely a lot of people with very strong opinions about this, and I would say against this, and concerns about, I guess too, there was one of the alumni classes donated money towards Dargits maintenance years ago. Is this?
No, they were
I was, okay.
There was talk about
Did it.
some work
I
for fence
vaguely
to fix
remembered it, and that's why I'm bringing it up, because I don't remember where it landed.
They were going to remove
think it's a-
that and put in like ag lime or something
They were
along that
gonna,
line.
they were gonna make it look nice and build something, but
It never came to fruition.
Even after I contacted them, multiple times, the person never responded. So we never received anything for that, nor an inkling on whether they were gonna come and do the maintenance. I think that was the idea, they were gonna come and do the maintenance.
So
Or get it up to,
since I wasn't at that workshop, was there concern at the workshop about the impact this might have on usage of the fields there at all? I mean, folks who were there?
It's, do I think it changed it? No. No, I don't think it changed it at all. I think if you went from a dirt field to turf, we can have discussion about changing a playing surface, but to grass, if anything, it slowed down the ball a little bit.
That's what I was, and one more time, I haven't played baseball since I was 8 years old, so, I mean, people said, well, you can't practice grounders on a grass infield, and that sounds vaguely correct to me, but again, not my sport of choice.
well,
They do it at the Legion,
the
so-
Legion ball.
So, and that was the other question, is that are the Legion Field and Lakeview publicly available on the level that Dargits were? So if somebody wants to walk down and use it, that's completely okay.
During the fall season, they have to schedule
That's,
the ball
that's, I
fields.
think, some of it, because I understand that, especially if there's been moisture and things, why you wouldn't want people on the field.
Right, and also, the other thing that you need to know, because I do know this, is that rec teams and everything got a little bit more favoritism than any type of travel ball teams did for practice facilities. So,
Is that why I noticed Home City Field's been used more, it seems like it's been used more in recent years, and
you can
Maybe
have all
Beatty as
sorts
well.
of discussions about what that is, but that's a lot of, some people just feel that they want their kids to play out of Beatty, or play out of Home City, or play out of Bremen.
Mhm.
And I think some of them don't want to go to them fields to practice, so they wanted to use Dargits.
One of the other clarifications, putting grass instead of the dirt that it is right now. Right now, there's sort of a destruction of property that's going on. The kid, whether they mean to destroy it or not, kids go in there, play, get all muddy, which is great. They're kids. But then they go into the bathrooms and wash it all off.
Yeah.
And the staff is stuck with cleaning it up. And then they're, like recently, while they're trying to water that grass in, there was definitely destruction of property where the kids went in past the "don't go past here" sign, got in the mud and took that mud and clumped it around city sprinkler that was there. I mean, we got pictures of the damaged sprinkler.
Well, here a while back, they decided to kick out the backstops every time you turned around.
Not too.
They would kick them, I mean, every other board or every board, they'd kick them out and break them. So,
Well, and I'll just say publicly that, and there might be a few of them listening tonight, that's just poor parenting right there, is what that is.
I agree.
If they're encouraging that type of action, that's poor parenting.
well, and I look at it for our crew guys, because they're there with a mower, so mowing the field, because it's grass, is it's time efficiency for us. I don't remember exactly how many acres we take care of, but we take care of a lot. So for us to drop everything, go get a tractor or a machine to drag that field and prep it and everything like that it's not a simple procedure to drag a field to make it good.
Well, and then keeping the weeds and the grass and everything
Oh,
else.
the
and
sandburs
enriching in it,
and-
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
That was something I was asked too, is how often do we mow targets? How often will these grass fields be mowed to keep them pretty shorn?
our guys mow on a pretty regular basis.
Yeah, I
I
think
know it's
once a
pretty
week they mow
regular,
once
but
a week. Yeah.
that's,
The question would be is how much is it gonna rain?
well, yeah,
I mean,
variable, right? Yeah.
well, during the spring, it seems like you mow every 4 to 5 days, and then now you're getting a little bit longer without the rain, so.
And if it rains, you're not practicing on those fields.
And that's a fair, actually, I'll be able to practice a little bit more on a grass field than, because it won't have the dirt running lanes. Learning the slide will be a little bit harder, but if you were properly taught, you were taught to slide in the grass.
I
field
broke my
to get-
leg sliding on a grass field once, so full disclosure. I guess I wasn't properly taught. I'm sure I wasn't.
Yeah, I see both sides of it. For us, it makes more sense.
Well,
What do you think?
I mean,
you
I
wanna kick
guess-
it to committee, or what do you wanna do?
well, I feel like it's already seated. It kind of is what it is at this point. My biggest concern, like, I feel like a broken record every time I say this, but when something rears its head like this is how can we discuss it more openly and get more public feedback before making the decision? Because obviously, this isn't something that would have necessarily been obvious to me as being a huge problem. It's just, that's not where my expertise lies. But obviously, people do care a lot and feel like this was kind of done off their radar. So, I mean, I guess my takeaway is this kind of thing in the future, I think it'd be good if the Parks Committee maybe talked about it, or if we all talked about it, because it's somewhat impactful. I mean, and where you draw that line, yeah, I don't know, but apparently the line on this one was not drawn where people like it.
Well, and with that being said, on certain things, then those committees, people are going to have to do better and move faster to have the meetings.
So that's true.
Because this is the time of year you plant grass,
Right.
you know, so.
Okay. Anything else in Parks and Rec? Cemetery and Airport?
Well, on the cemetery and airport, Cindy, will you reach out about putting together a meeting, to your point about getting right on top of having those committee meetings?
Quicker.
If we need to have it at like 9 o'clock at the Wagon Wheel, I'd be down for that. I'm just putting it out there.
Well, we have to have it open to the public, so, I mean, that is
Okay,
public.
8 o'clock at the
yeah,
Wagon Wheel.
As long as they know where it's at, they can
Yeah.
attend.
Kinda, it's
Yeah.
not good.
I get it.
Not good to keep moving it around, people gotta find you. I
How are
guess
they
that's
doing
what
on the
I'm
airport?
I don't know, they did the coating and the temporary paint. There was an inspector there on Sunday to see if there was any issues with it. Haven't seen a report, back from that. But if everything stands, 30 more days, for all that to cure, and then they come back and put permanent down.
Getting real close.
Must be okay because there were planes taking off today.
Well, it's open, it's open, it's on Friday
Yes.
already.
Yeah, it's open right now, but they're leaving it, they needed it to cure, they couldn't put the permanent down. I think the oil needs to, I guess move,
Permeate into.
yeah. And the permanent doesn't allow for whatever needs to happen. So the last stage will be, the permanent after 30 days, so. Right now it's non-reflective paint. And so we'll put a.
Odom says that.
Yeah, and the NOTAM says that. So they'll come back and put reflective paint down. And close the airport for a few days again. And then that'll be the last time once it's opened back up for this project.
Anything else in cemetery and airport? Police and fire? Admin and Finance?
I have I don't know if this is probably where it falls, question. It was brought to my attention, somebody had concerns about a grass mowing fine that they received because city crew had to mow the grass, which I understand the process, I understand kind of how we price it and things, but their question was, is there any formal procedure for granting any sort of grace in those situations? And they asked that because I mentioned that in the situation of water and sewer, that is something that can be appealed to the Water and Sewer Committee for discussion, where it's, you know, special circumstances, we can do some rough justice, that sort of thing. Do we have anything like that at all in the grass side?
Anything can be appealed to the council. That, I think, since there's no,
That's-
there is a formal setting for water, but there's no formal setting, for a committee. So by default, they can come to the council for
Okay,
grace.
so if it's not otherwise laid out, they can always bring it to council?
Always, yes.
Okay, that's, well,
Simple.
so, no, well, this was in a situation where somebody was not able to because they were,
Call somebody.
well, let's just say, without going into deep detail, it's unusual circumstances. I'm saying I've seen it on the Water and Sewer Department. I think there is a place for us to have that conversation, that's all I'm saying. So if there's a path for them
I
to
do
be
wish
able
if
to do that.
they do have a problem, then they get a letter.
Yeah, well, this
they-
was somebody helping somebody else.
I
and
know who you're
was-
talking about,
Yeah.
I've already talked to them,
I know,
what we're
and
talking
they paid the fine, and
Right, they
everything's
did.
fine, but they just wanted to know what our process
Technically, it's not a
was.
fine.
Well, sorry,
It's
they paid us
just the
back.
cost
Right,
of mowing. They
Right.
didn't pay the fine. I
Right.
mean, we don't fine.
we don't, it's not a fine
I
per
wanted to
se,
make
but
sure people knew we didn't fine them for
people,
not
to
mowing their
people, it
grass.
feels like a fine when we charge them 300 or whatever dollars for a relatively small yard, because that's more than normally you get people pay to do that, so.
Yeah, right, but if anybody has an issue, it'd be great if they would call us before we go mow.
Yeah, I know.
In this
That's-
case, I know
And
what
it's
you're
a
talking about.
circumstance issue where it's a wrinkle, so,
Yeah,
yeah,
I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
I figured you would.
I'd say kudos to the admin and finance committee on working through the whole Marysville Chamber and Main Street. I think you guys put a lot of effort in that, did a great job with it.
Anything else on Admin and Finance? There are no appointments. We need an executive session.
I would like only 5 minutes to discuss property acquisition.
Okay. You got the read for that, Cindy?
I do. Somewhere.
Who wants to read it?
Not that one, this one.
I move the city council recess into executive session to discuss possible acquisition of real estate pursuant to the acquisition of real estate exception KSA 75-4319B6. This session will include the mayor, city council, city administrator. The open meeting will resume in the city council chamber at 8:06 o'clock. Does that work?
And city, you
And
said city attorney.
City attorney as well, sorry.
807.
8:07. 8:07.
Second.
A second? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
You're good, bring it back.
All right. This meeting back to order. No binding decisions were made in executive session. We'll continue on with the regular meeting. Roundtable. Todd?
Nothing.
Jeff?
Nope.
Lori?
Nothing.
Keith?
I like to explore or get a plan, detailed plan on what would take and what we should do about making 10th and Center wider. And I don't think we need to drag our feet on it, but gradually start the process, wheels turning. That's what I got.
Yeah, I like that idea. All right.
Nothing this evening.
Parker?
Nothing tonight.
Kevin?
Just like to thank Austin for his time here at Marysville, Kansas.
Thank you, Austin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Austin.
Thank you, guys.
Will be missed. The other thing we need to know is, I hope you wrote down instructions on how to run all that
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. We're working on that. We got instructions, as long as the instructions work.
They've been setting it up, a few times, and I got one more day if they need to ask questions. I have pretty much all the instructions, pictures, stuff like that in here. Actually, Deb has pretty good
Because I know it
pictures.
seems like when you're gone, we have a heck of a
Right.
time trying to.
This was 100% set up by Deb, so I didn't have to do anything with it, so they,
One in front of that, Sammy did.
yeah, Sammy did the one previous to that, so they're getting it. Yeah.
Good.
All right.
That's all
That
I
it?
have, sir.
I don't have anything.
Move to adjourn.
Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?